Hello, I am Xarkun, this is World of Warships Legends, and today I bring you a community replay submitted by General Humbug. He is playing the Tier 3 Premium American Battleship Arkansas, and he is on the map Archipelago in a domination mode game. Now, Tier 3 games can often be incredibly entertaining, especially if you have an experienced player doing some seal clubbing down here at Tier 3. Now, I've featured a game before in the Arkansas that was kind of like a community replay. That time, the game was played by T-Bull, and it was a barn burner of a match in which T-Bull got a ton of close quarter expert medals and basically single-handedly won the game for his team. We're going to see a similar situation in this game with General Humbug, although it is going to start off rather slowly and rather disappointingly. We've got a Nassau out there who is proving so far with General Humbug's first salvo to be a highly resilient target to the Arkansas's armor piercing. But no worries, we've got a follow-up salvo ready. General Humbug unleashes the salvo at the Nassau, who is pretty well angled, and as such, takes minimal damage. Now he's got torpedoes heading in his general direction, which are going to miss. Actually, I don't know that those torpedoes were actually aimed at the Nassau. We've got two friendly destroyers inside of the Alpha Cap, launching torpedoes at, I think, the cruiser out there to the left of the Nassau, who is no longer even spotted. You know, when you come down to Tier 3, you can expect a lot of the players you encounter here to be relatively new. Some of them might be on, well, I don't think they'd be on their first or second game, because I do think you have to play a lot in AI before you can do the player versus player battles. But still, a lot of green, inexperienced players to be found down here. I think at least one of those destroyers there is that type of player. General Humbug is opening fire on this Tier 3 Italian cruiser, I think it's called the Giussano, and he gets an 8k salvo, which is nice, after the very underwhelming salvos he sent the way of the Nassau. Unfortunately, it's not enough to kill the Italian cruiser, who is shooting there at his destroyer teammates and might be able to take one of them out, although he has a painfully slow reload, so perhaps not. Reversing now, giving a fair amount of broadside, shot is out, and there goes the Giussano for a Citadel hit and General Humbug's first kill of the game. Now, the Nassau and Caledon have come around the corner and taken out the cruiser off there to General Humbug's starboard side, leaving him alone with the destroyers to face a Caledon and a Nassau. Now, the Caledon, British Tier 2 cruiser, no armor whatsoever to speak of, which can sometimes work in its favor when it is being shot at by the armor piercing, since the armor piercing will penetrate the armor, go straight through the ship, and not detonate inside, causing overpens, which is what is happening here. Of course, the Caledon, it's a bit of a sad ship. I think it can be citadeled by cruiser caliber high explosive from a lot of Tier 3 cruisers, so the Caledon ought to be careful. This Nassau, though, he is proving to be a real pain in the stern. General Humbug just can't seem to damage him at all, and I suspect this Nassau is also a bit of a seal clubber. Let's face it, so is General Humbug, but seal clubbing can be entertaining, as dirty and filthy as it might be. This poor Caledon, I think he ran into the island, so he's reversing away, giving a bit of an angled broadside, which hopefully will work in General Humbug's favor. But General Humbug still has eyes for this Nassau, who has basically proven to be his arch nemesis so far in the battle. Not taking any damage whatsoever from the Nassau's AP. Maybe it's just better off to switch back to the Caledon. Yeah, let's do that. Caledon giving broadside. He can't possibly get away with doing this for this long, right? Luckily for him, dispersion seems to be working against General Humbug. The shells are flying in all kinds of wild directions. Will they tighten up for once? And no, still nothing. Still got 2 turrets left. Maybe this salvo. Let's see. Yes, finally, a Citadel hit on the Caledon, who loses most of his remaining hit points. RNG is cooperating. Look at that tight shell grouping there. Of course, it's an overpen, though. Nassau, in front of General Humbug, eats a lot of torpedoes and loses most of his hit points, which is good. General Humbug can finish off this Caledon. Yes, another Citadel. General Humbug's second kill of the game, and the Nassau, no more hit points left to speak of. So, with this salvo, even a little bit of chip damage is going to be enough to send the Nassau to the bottom. And it does, for General Humbug's third kill of the game. He's up to 42,000 damage, and he's still got a friendly Valkyrie left to support him. This Valkyrie, I think, is playing a pretty decent game of his own. Seems like he might either be somewhat experienced or else, just naturally good or lucky. I don't know, but he has survived. The rest of General Humbug's team is dead, and it is 2 versus 5. The odds are not in the blue team's favor here, but I believe General Humbug has proven to us that he knows what he's doing, and his team is in good hands. We've got another Nassau out there who is not going to prove to be quite as resilient as the first. He's giving broadside. General Humbug loses sight of the Nassau, but takes a blind shot and absolutely smacks him for 5 regular penetrations and 1 overpen. He nets the high caliber medal in the process, and suddenly the Nassau is not looking quite as healthy as he did when he was initially spotted. Unfortunately, General Humbug is not going to get a follow-up shot, and he appears to have a couple problems of his own. He is located, judging by the white little arrow icon that says located. That means there is most likely a destroyer in the area using the twist and track skill. Spoiler alert, it is a Russian destroyer, the Tier 2 Premium Strazovoy, and that player must be using Trubetskoy on the ship with the twist and track skill selected. Now, I don't know anything about the Strazovoy, and we're gonna find out quite a bit about that particular ship as it approaches General Humbug's Arkansas from around the corner of this island. He's spotted now. Strazovoy comes into view, and he is clearly going on a suicide torp run toward the battleship. Now, I've talked about suicide torp runs. They are often a terrible idea. In fact, take a look at this Strazovoy's team. They are in a great position to win. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to try to sink these ships. They can just defend their cap circles and win on points. So, there's no reason for the Strazovoy to do this. He hits General Humbug with a number of torpedoes, but they don't seem to do a lot of damage. And now he's basically screwed. He's got almost no hit points left, and General Humbug's secondaries manage to light a fire, which is enough to finish off the Strazovoy. So General Humbug doesn't even need to expend a salvo with his same guns, or with his main guns. So that's why you don't want to do these suicide torpedo rushes on battleships. That Strazovoy, what did he gain? Nothing. He's dead. And so is this enemy Kolberg. For General Humbug's 5th kill of the game, he gets the Kraken Unleashed medal and the Confederate to go with his high caliber. There are only 3 enemy ships left. And One of them is a Karlsruhe, who I suspect is a very new player, sailing broadside, firing armor-piercing at an Arkansas, not making himself too terribly difficult to hit at 6.8 kilometers, full salvo unleashed. There goes the Karlsruhe for General Humbug's 6th kill of the game and 5th Citadel hit. Now it's 2 versus 2. It's a Nassau and an Aurora on the red team versus General Humbug's Arkansas and about a half-health Valkyrie. You can see that the enemy team is still ahead on points, and they still have the cap circle advantage. In fact, they are working on flipping Alpha, which is the only cap that the friendly team has held throughout the entirety of this game. And again, all they need to do is defend these capture circles and not die, and they should be able to win. But of course, they are going to try to win harder. Now that Valkyrie is at half health. He doesn't look too inclined to go try to engage these guys. Instead, it looks like he's going to try to flip Bravo. But that's not going to work out too well for him, as General Humbug moves into the Bravo cap to try to support him. 6 kills, though, I would like to remind you, and this is the magic of Tier 3. When you get down here, you can absolutely have wild games like this from time to time, and let's not kid ourselves. Frankly, it can be a lot of fun to do this, although the morality of seal clubbing of this gratuitous and gross kind on the part of General Humbug, questionable. Anyway, red ships are no longer spotted. General Humbug's checking the team roster. It is an Aurora and a Nassau, and they are headed this way. Looks like General Humbug, along with the Valkyrie, are going to take the Bravo cap, which should net General Humbug a fair amount of experience points, but ultimately is pretty much irrelevant to the outcome of this game. There's not enough time left. They need to kill both of these ships, and both of these ships are going to come and engage them, which probably not a good idea on their part. I'll say it for a third time. They're ahead on points. They're ahead on caps. All they have to do is protect the caps and not try to win harder. Now, the Nassau, it looks like, takes down the friendly Valkyrie, who launched torpedoes in that direction. I don't think those torpedoes are going to hit anything, so it's all up to General Humbug. Aurora giving broadside, salvo almost loaded, the shot is out, and the Aurora is sunk in a devastating strike for General Humbug's 7th kill of the game. And just like that, it's 1 versus 1. This Nassau doesn't even need to kill General Humbug. All he needs to do is survive. And he's not a bad player, or he probably shouldn't be a bad player. He's running the beta flag on his Nassau, so he's been playing this game for a long time, longer than I have. He knows that all he needs to do is survive, which is why he's pointing his bow at the Arkansas and not coming closer. Now, unfortunately for General Humbug, he is going to run into this island, and he is on perilously low health. But one of his secondaries has started a fire, which the Nassau doesn't seem to be able to put out. And it is chipping away at the Nassau's remaining hit points, along with the main guns, which are just enough to take down the Nassau for General Humbug's 8th and final kill of the game. He basically has single-handedly carried this game. He's killed 8 out of 9 ships, Kraken Unleashed, High Caliber, Devastating Strike, Confederate, and what was the other medal? Dreadnought. So, excellent game on General Humbug's part. Very entertaining to watch. Thank you for sending that in. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If so, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already done that. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.